Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Warning! This video contains spoilers for the 2006 movie Wristcutters, a love story. It may also include discussions or images of violence, sexual situations, and drug use. Viewing beyond this point is a choice you have made, and you take responsibility for that choice. Thank you, and please have a great day.
Hello and welcome to this video. I hope everyone is having fun. I hope everyone is enjoying themselves. And I hope the universe is treating you fairly. Today's video is going to be on a movie that I have just recently, or not, by the time this airs, it will have been a while, but at the time of film, I've just recently came across. The name of this movie is Wristcutters, a Love Story. I will tell you right now, in case you need to bail, and there's nothing wrong with that, this movie deals heavily with people that self-delete. This is like the fourth time I'm filming this, because every time I've tried to upload it, YouTube has not been real happy with me using the S word for self-deletion, so we're going from there. This movie is different. Like I said, it is a dark comedy. Not quite as dark as Man Bites Dog, but this is a dark comedy. This movie was directed by Goran Duric, D-U-K-I-C, Dukic. The source material was written by Edgar Kuret. I don't know. I hope I'm pronouncing all these names correctly, but there's probably a real good chance my dyslexic ass isn't. This movie, which I have a copy of, I actually got a copy of it for my friend for his birthday coming up here. Or actually, by the time this posts, his birthday would have already passed. It is... Boom. This is the DVD. I could not find it on Blu-ray. But I'm trying to keep the glare off it from the overhead light. It was inspired. The movie was inspired by the graphic novel. Yeah, the graphic novel. This graphic novel is wonderful. The art is beautiful. If you're cool with the story, this is well worth having in your collection of graphic novels. And for those of you people that aren't comic book nerds like myself, when somebody who's comic book nerd or whatever says graphic novel, it simply means fancy comic book. Put it in layman terms or non-comic book terms, graphic novel basically means fancy comic book. Now, the source material, Neller's Happy Campers, beautiful book. or short story. It's not really even a book. It's a short story. Maybe, I don't know where the cutoff between short story and novella is. This is 86 pages. And even for my dyslexic ass, this is a short read. And it's a wonderful read. It is dark. And if you don't do dark comedy, don't read it. Don't indulge in any of the media. If you don't like dark comedy, it's that simple. So please understand that some stuff that I cover, you got to kind of have a twisted sense of humor. And I think that is growing up Gen X, because we were left to roam the streets by ourselves. You know, the joke that I've told people when I was younger, that growing up Gen X, the day school ended, your parents gave you $50 and told you to come back right before school for back to school clothes shopping. And that's pretty much how we lived our summers. It's really good. I got into this story. Yeah, we're like almost 6 minutes in, and 7 minutes in when that is James Gunn's fault. James Gunn is, if you want to blame anyone for me doing this video, blame James Gunn. Back at the end of 2024, HBO Max dropped Creature Commandos, in which Gunn used a lot of Gogo Bordello's songs in the episodes of this animated comic book cartoon. Which my curious self went, I like what I've heard in the cartoon. Why don't I have that hair just flying out there was just kind of bothering me. So I started getting on Spotify and researching their music and looking it up and listening to it. Really, really enjoyed it. I had posted some quotes from their songs on my Facebook. Then a buddy of mine, a friend of mine, somebody who I trust in these sorts of things, hits me on Facebook, say, hey dude, check out the video for Through the Roof Underground. I'm like, okay, I'd heard the song, I listened to the song a bunch of times and it was familiar. So I'm, oh, okay, let's see how this video plays out. So I go to YouTube, clackety clack, 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 click play. And the first video that popped up was the one for the movie, the promotional video for the movie. So I listened to it, and the first 30 seconds I was like, oh, I'm watching this movie. This movie's great. In fact, if YouTube will let me, I will share that with you now.
I'm not sitting in the back.
Why not?
Because everybody knows the guy in the back seat doesn't have a cock.
What?
That's a fact. If the guy in the back seat had the cock, he wouldn't be back there in the first place.
Well, I mean, I got a cock, man, so I'm not... Mike, do you have a cock?
Yeah, I have a cock. Big fat one.
Okay, we're back from that. Yeah, I saw that and went, cool. So I watched the movie, and in the opening credits of the movie, it of course went, inspired by Neller's Happy Campers. And I was like, wow, it's based on a book. Then I watched the movie. Then I was like, you know what? I want to watch that again. I want to do a video on this, so I'll watch it again. So about the third or fourth time I was watching, I actually noticed it said, inspired by The short story, Neller's Happy Campers. I'm like, oh, okay, it's a short story, so not a big deal. The movie length and short story, that jives, that there shouldn't have been that many a lot of the changes that they did were probably aesthetic or interpretation. Then I found out that the movie was actually based on the graphic novel. I was like, okay, there's a graphic novel. So I ordered the graphic novel and the short story. And I really don't know if it's actually truly a short story or a novella, because I don't really understand where the cutoff for one is and the beginning of the other one is. So, because Philip K. Dick's got short stories that are like 3 or 4 pages long. So, it's, I don't know the whole thing. And I was like, oh, and the graphic novel came in first. So I read the graphic novel and really enjoyed it. The art, it was wonderful. The art was somber with the tone of the tone. While you had the comedy, you had the comedy and the dialogue bubbles and the internal thought bubbles and stuff, but you got this dark, somber art. Then you have the novel, and then I got the novel, or the short story. I keep saying novel because most of what I own is novels or graphic novels. So I went and I did that, and I read it. I'm like, okay, cool. There are from the source material through the graphic novel into the movie, there's surprisingly little changes. One of the biggest ones is in the movie you get the happy ending, which I have a feeling that was some studio chicanery there. We'll talk about that more when we get to that part. But the biggest change, or the most noteworthy, there's minor changes through the different media, from the source material through. The only one worth a note is the character change. In the movie, our lead male protagonist is Zaya. The female protagonist, I had to write it down because I've just read the novel, or I just finished reading this a couple days ago, so I have the book names in my head, so I had to make a cheat sheet. The female lead is McCall, and the comedy relief is Eugene. Side note, the director of the movie is a Go-Go Bordello fan. And the character of Eugene is inspired by Eugene Hoots, H-U-T-Z, with the 2 dots above the U. Hoots is who he's inspired by, and just does this awesome. The actor who does the accent and stuff he kind of nails a lot of the movements. If you've watched interviews with Eugene Hoots, his movements, his nonverbal, and stuff like that, and Eugene in this kind of embodies that. This story in the novel and in the graphic novel starts with Zaya informing us starting at his funeral. In the movie, Zaya gets up, cleans his apartment, then self-deletes. Then the first spoken word monologue, or whatever you want to call it, is word for word from the source material in the graphic novel. And he's basically talking about his girlfriend left him for another guy. He offed himself, or he self-deleted. I may have to reshoot this. He did the self-deletion thing and woke up, had a job at Pizzeria Kamikaze, except I think in the movie they call it Kamikaze Pizza. They Americanized it. I believe the author of Neely's Happy Campers is Ukrainian. But he wakes up, he has this job. The world that he's inhabiting is a world of all, basically it's populated with everybody that self-deleted. And it's described as just like the living world, except slightly worse. And our boy Zia has an apartment, he works, but we never see, the way it's framed, you're like, oh, okay, you know, all the rent paying and paychecks is off screen. But is it? He's at store shopping. He's picking up groceries, what have you, and he comes across a friend of his. It's like, oh, you self-deleted too? He's like, yeah. I did it about 6 months after you did, and about 3 months after your girlfriend Desiree did. Yes, you self-deleting broke her up so bad that she self-deleted. And he was like, really? Desiree? So and he's still in love with her. So he convinces Eugene to go with him to find Desiree wherever she is, and this is where we find out Eugene's car. I would love to have a car like this, but not. There's a black hole under the passenger seat, and the headlights don't work. He's taken it to all the best mechanics, everybody, and the headlights, they don't work. In fact, this is one of the things I love about this particular story, the way it's written, is you're dropped in this world. This world's already here, been here. You're just new to it. The author doesn't explain the rules. He doesn't explain a whole lot of what's going on, just simply because it's not necessary. And if he were to go explain it, it would strip away the humor and strip away the mystery. I don't want to say fun because it's kind of purgatory. So they're going across country. And one of the things that I love, just because I love it more now that I've read the short story, there's a montage of scenes. And a couple times in these montages, Zia and Eugene are eating. You know, they're in the car eating, but they got one hand holding a plate, and they got one hand holding the plate, and they're eating. And the car's just driving straight down the road. Who's steering? So yeah, and we also find out in this purgatory, you cannot smile. And there's this beautiful scene where Eugene and McCall, the hitchhiker they pick up, McCall, are trying to force themselves to smile. And we find out, they're on their little adventure. They see McCall hitchhiking. They pick her up. The reason why they pick her up is Eugene wants to pick her up because she's hot. Zia wants to pick her up because this is the first time that he's ever seen a hitchhiker in this purgatory. And time in purgatory runs differently than time in the living world. And I think this is how they justify the ending. Okay, they pick up McCall. McCall is like, look, I didn't kill myself. I accidentally overdosed on heroin. I'm not supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be someplace else. And she's looking for the PICs, people in charge. And so they're going on this journey together. And it's funny. There's montage. There's a montage, and you get it in the music video. It's also in the movie. I believe they just cut the montage out of the movie using the video, but of them traveling and stopping just when they had to use the restroom and stuff, which I don't. And you get this montage with music, and they're like growing together. They're becoming, this unit. Then one night while they're McCall's driving, and it's getting dark, and she goes to turn the headlights on, and they're like, no, the headlights don't work. And when she turns them on, they come on. And everyone's freaking out. Then they see a man sleeping in the road, so they avoid hitting him and smash into a tree. We find out this is Neller. He's got this little compound going on. He's looking for his dog. His dog ran off. And as they're hanging out in this community, Eugene finds love. Finds a woman that's going to settle him down. Zaya and McCall basically over the course of the movie fall in love with each other. They find the dog. There's another compound of people, and he finds Desiree. And Zaya is torn between McCall, who actually really loves him, and Desiree, who's still manipulating people. And the leader of this compound has Needler's dog. And he's promising this big thing, this big reveal, this big miracle. But while all that's going on, we find out that miracles happen in this purgatory only if they're meaningless. There's a scene where McCall lights a cigarette with devil's lettuce, and flicks the match, and the match floats up in the air. Eugene and I believe it's Nina, his kind of girlfriend that he met, are fishing, and they catch fish, and he's able to change the fish's color. Miracles, but they have to be meaningless. So they're at this second compound, and all these guys are talking. The leader of this compound is kind of a David Koresh Jim Jones type figure. And he kills himself again. And the PICs show up, the people in charge. They show up, they start arresting people, they do their thing. McCall finds one of them, explains to them what happens, and they review her file and they realize, oh yeah, you shouldn't be here. Then they take her to return her to wherever she needs to go. Zaya is heartbroken. He realizes he fucked up twice. He fucked up with Desiree by killing himself, and he fucked up with McCall. So he's all brokenhearted about it. Eugene leaves to go to the great beyond with the girl he found to love. And basically, Zaya is confused. He's brokenhearted. He's depressed. Then he's out driving. He's got Eugene's car. And he drops something, goes in the black hole under the passenger seat. So he's like, screw it, what's worse can happen? So he crawls under and goes to the black hole himself. He wakes up in the hospital, bandaged up. His parents are outside talking to the doctor. And we find out that Neller stole his case file in the PIC headquarters and destroyed it, which somehow grants Zaya a return to the living world. And he destroys McCall's, so she returns to the living world. And they just conveniently happen to be in the same hospital. And they look at each other, they recognize each other, and they smile. Which is a callback to the being in purgatory where they couldn't smile. Like I said, I think that happy ending, because in the source material and in the graphic novel, Morty, that's his name in the source material, and the graphic name Morty, or Isaiah, it's just stuck there. He's got to make the best of it with what he's got. He fucked things up, and he has to deal with it. There are consequences. And like I said, I think the studio forced in or wedged in the happy ending. Kind of like they did in the 1981 theatrical release of Blade Runner, is they forced the the studio wanted the happy ending. But c'est la vie. C'est la vie. So yeah, it's like I said, it is dark. Not as dark as Man Bites Dog. Now that is a fucking dark ass movie. But this one's dark. Like I said, not quite as dark. This is about 9, 10 o'clock at night, whereas Man Bites Dog is like 4 in the morning. Lightning storm and power loss. So yeah, it's like I said, I really enjoyed it. But it pushes all the right nihilistic Gen X buttons that there are to push. So I recommend it, and I'm going to let you guys go, get back to doing the important stuff. This is going to probably go up on Christmas Day, so this is a nice little break from the family. So, and until next time, everyone, remember to be a good human Be good to other humans. Peace.
Hey, it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?